Hi guys, I just got an alert from our indicators that we created for Renko bars, so I'm watching and waiting for an entry here. Okay, we just sell because we got a signal. It's a classic 1, 2, 3. It's M2, and we have to place a stop. Place a stop always over the highest point. Here we go. Remember, because there are only 2 pips per candle, we need at least a stop of about 10. Place it somewhere, calculate. There we go, it's 11, so we have 10 plus spread. We don't want less, because as I said, depending on the spread you have, if it starts spiking, it's kicking you out. Then at least you know that was a bad choice, right? So 10 pips at least. This is without any top-down approach. This is just volatility trading according to setup. So you already got your first setup, so this would be a late one. A late setup, therefore low risk. Yeah, we just risk less than we would have risk at the first setup after the trend line break on this M2 settings. Price is moving. Remember, you have a spread of about, you should not have a bigger spread than 1 or 2 on the euro US dollar, but sometimes depending on the volatility on the broker you can even have 3, which is bad, but it's bad in terms of, you know, if you want to scalp like this on M2 settings. Okay, so at that point, as I said, you have about 11-12 pips stop. You actually need the price, so start making profits. Price has to actually go to somewhere down here before you can take your first profit, right? If it does not, because you're trading M2 like 2 bars per candles, you can also manage this trade quicker, and you don't need the price to actually stop you out. That's the beauty when you do scalping, and that's what we're also going to cover of course live in our workshop, in our Renko bar workshop, because what you don't need, especially when you scalp, is to see the price going against you and then you wait for it to hit the stop. If it's volatile at the beginning like now and it goes your way, wonderful. If it does not and it comes back up, you have your trend line, you have your guide, and then the different way to manage this before it's hitting the stop. So you might create a break even or a small loss on this trade, and that can be the difference between winning and losing when you scalp. And you have to be kind of quick. Okay, sometimes markets change immediately, you don't have time to do something else and you get kicked out. That's also okay, but when you scalp you also have a lot of time. Sometimes if the price first goes your way like it does here and then start changing directions for whatever reasons, you have enough time to manage it and keep the losses small. So in this case, because as I said, we didn't use any filters to trade, meaning that we didn't check a time frame to see if we had resistance or support. Maybe it's a bad place to actually enter because of resistance or support in this case. So that makes it even more important that you know how to manage a trade like this. Okay, some people say, you know what, this whole filtering and trying to figure out, where I have support and resistance is too much for me, which it isn't, but I know for some people it is. They don't want to focus on too many things. They want to keep things really, really simple. So in this case, you want, especially as a scalping trader, you want to make sure you manage your trade as soon as possible to keep always the losses very, very small. Okay? And again, just as a reminder, this is just one classic Renko bar 1, 2, 3 setup. So there's nothing new, but it's not always about the entries and the setups. It's about the management, the money management, the trade management, the consistency, patience, discipline, right? Everything. Sorry, I have to type in between. So we have a retracement now. Price moved about 10 pips. So if you had a really small spread of 1 pip, you could have taken maybe one out, of course, at your 10 pips, more or less the stop. In this case, because it already moved before, after taking out the 10 pips, you want to trail the stop a little bit lower now, so it is actually less than 10. So you make sure it's you didn't risk more than your stop is, right? Like I mean, like sorry, you took out like the first part of your trade, like when you split this, or you have, let's say, 3 lots there, you manually take out 1 or 1.5, the half trade in this area. When you see like the candles are slightly changing, you might get another retracement. This is something I'm also going to teach you, when to identify that this change might happen, and you want to take out the first part of your trade early, right? So in this case, that means price moved already your way. You can take the stop and move it slightly lower now, because your angle of your trend line changed, and you want to see the price not moving higher than this place that you entry anyway. That means if you do that and you have now a 9 pip stop, for instance, and you take out like 10, 11 pips, then your spread is included and it's 1 to 1 with your stop. It's good to take out half of the position, for instance, especially when you have also some support in this area. So now the history, sometimes when you open your MT4 charts and add your Renko bars, could be funny if you close it or you have the weekend in between, so you wouldn't really use this history that you have if it's from over the weekend for your support and resistance. But still, if it's not that the case and price gives you the right Renko bar settings and everything, then sometimes, especially in an area where you have multiple bottoms here or here, or in this area where you see some trouble in price action, you can say, okay, you know what, this in combination with maybe a small reversal candle here is a reason enough for me to take out something already. Yeah, and there's a little tricks, especially when you scalp, the thoughts you have and the mindset you need to keep, and all the steps in your mind, they have to line up every time, each and every time you do it. So you know, okay, I take some profits right now because it's a risk of 101, or price move lower, I start trailing the stop slightly to make sure I didn't take out less than I risk, yeah, for the half position, or candle color is changing, I see a difference in volatility. That's the reason also to take out something, or I have support. All these little things, as I said, I'm going to teach you anyway, right? So in case you can see right now, it would be time to for sure close the first lot, and then you keep the rest. And this, of course, in another video, I'm just explaining to you how this works. So for instance, you can go to your positions and make sure, let me just find it, that you take out some profits, okay? Or sometimes people just scalp to target an area of support, in this case close the whole thing, which I do right now because the video is coming to an end. So I close the whole thing, and if you are scalping, there are different ways, as I said, to do this. Sometimes it's just trading with one position to quickly make some profits. Sometimes it's to trade with multiple positions. It really depends on the volatility and the areas of support. So because we have some support in this area, we might see a retracement back to here. And if the price again bounces or looks great, you can of course continue your trading. But as I said, we are going to do this live anyway. There was a simple demonstration. You saw I didn't overanalyze anything. I didn't think like about million details when I started to trade. I just drew some lines, saw the volatility, took action. That's what you have to get used to, right? Also, when you have your EAs running and the indicators, they will actually send you alerts when these 1, 2, 3s happen, so you don't even have to sit here. So what I would do, I go away now, then wait for the price to reach this area, then I'll check, is it still worth trading, because I already had some setups and it's far away from my trend line break. And if I like it, then I trade it. And if I don't like it, or the price breaks this area and doesn't give me setups, okay, then I do something else. The trick with scalping is that you have to follow the rules that you said 100% all day long. If you do that all day long, right? Sometimes it will be great. You can make hundreds of pips. Sometimes you'll see market is changing a little bit, or the behavior is changing, and you don't do anything, okay? For instance, it could be a reversal, an aggressive reversal signal in this area to target support again, but you do that only if it's worth it. In this case it isn't. I'll explain why. And again, this is just one example, guys, okay? The indicators and the alerts and the A's that we are using here will help you a lot, so you don't have to sit all day long. But with scalping management, this is, as I said, an M2 setting, meaning one candle is 2 pips. Okay, guys? Hope that video helped. Don't forget to sign up for our Renko bar workshop next week. We do this here a lot, and I'll give you all combinations for day trading, day traders, for scalpers, how to use the EAs, how to use the indicators. I just want to make sure that you all get profitable as a trader very, very soon. Would be great to hear like hundreds of stories where you tell me that you made pips all day long, right? Right? I would love to hear that from you. So catch up with you soon. I hope this was helpful, and bye for now.